Right. Welcome to the next Man in the Van. As you can see, this is a production by Dirt Hub, and we are brought to you by Relaxtorace Arm Pump. We'll be giving some of this away at the end of this one. And of course, the guys at FXR. I'm going to bring in our guest right now for this, which is this episode 11, series 2. There he is, Mr. Adam Sterry. Look, he's even written his name. He's all good to go.
I followed the instructions.
And you've done it very
If
well.
I knew it was coming on there, actually, I maybe could have had some banter, but no for
I
next
brought
time.
you in. It's all right. I'm going to just bring something up so we know what we're talking about here. Where are we? Here we are. That's you. And that's it, really. I'll get rid of the other banner. It's all very technical, this. What am I doing here? Oh, yeah, let's get rid of that. Right. Let's make a start then, mate. Christ. It's been about a year since we spoke proper, I'd say, which was at the Motocross of Nations when we spent a lot of time together. I was doing all the updates and stuff like that. That year's gone quick, isn't it?
Yeah, really quick. Too quick, actually. Like, I thought, actually, maybe normally it goes fast because you're racing weekend to weekend and it feels like you never have any time off. But this seems to have gone fast with not really doing that much, to be honest. So, yeah, like you said, I think it's gone fast and it's been a year since we've spoke. So probably a good time to have a chat.
Well, so much has actually happened in a year. You know, when we spoke to you, you representing Team GB for the first time, put it on the box. The euphoria of that weekend was something huge. I could see the emotion in all you guys. Then you have to get out of MX2 class because you age out. Then you obviously finding a new team. That didn't really work out. Corona. Oh, mate, let's just start. Let's go back to starting after the Nations. So where were you at that point? Had you already agreed, or you knew roughly where you were going, or was that deal still on the table and you hadn't taken it?
Yeah, I hadn't signed at that point. I was still speaking to a few people, but I pretty much knew where I was going. Yeah, it wasn't actually until I was on holiday in the off season is when I actually, the day before I flew, I signed for the JD Gunnex team. So yeah, after the Nations, I still didn't have a ride, but to be honest, I wasn't really thinking about that in that moment. I was just so happy with the weekend and excited for the monster party that night.
I didn't. Maybe we should leave that alone. I didn't go to that, so probably.
You missed out on a great night.
They're always spectacular.
I'm sure you've heard of some stories from that night.
Well, every year the party at the Motocross of Nations after party is legendary. Yeah, I've been to a fair few.
You can ask Sean Simpson about that night. I think he remembers quite a lot from it.
Right, I have to get Sean back on here, and then we live that moment. And yeah, I mean, letting your hair down after a long season, but to let it down in style after getting, on the podium.
Yeah, definitely. We was going to go either way, but it was much nicer going there that we've been on the podium. So, yeah.
So, at that point, you were just focusing on the Nations, obviously a job to do, and you did it spectacularly well. A huge honor. I mean, we spoke about it at the time, but now you've had a year for that to sink in. I mean, that's got to be something that will live with you for a very long time, that whole experience. I mean, you might well get other opportunities, that probably won't be your only stab at it, but that first one must have felt pretty bloody special.
Yeah, definitely. First time, the people I was doing it with as well. The whole experience, first time doing it. To get on the podium was unbelievable, especially the way it happened. After me and Nathan in the first race kind of thought we threw it away for the whole team, So honestly, I went down for the third race, just you can see on the podium and stuff. I'm just in my normal clothes. Like, I didn't even think about the podium. It wasn't until I was in one of the VIP boxes, and it was like first 2 laps in the race, and it came up like the virtual podium, and it said we were second, and I was like, oh, hang on a minute. And then I think that's the most nervous I've ever been watching a race ever. And then as we know, I missed out on the MX2 podium a few times by being 4th, and I see Tixier coming through the field on the live timing, and I knew they were like 2 points behind. I seen him gain 2 places, and I thought, no, not 4th again, surely. and then it just panned to Paul. I'm pushing his bike, and the whole VIP tent had me on the floor on top of me, and yeah,
I
that was pretty cool moment.
I think a lot of Brits lived that moment, not as much as you, because you were obviously an integral part of the team. But yeah, I can remember that moment as well. I sat in the stands with Hot Tub with a load of French fans in front of us. And it literally happened right in front of where me and Hot Tub was. And so they all obviously just put their head in their hands and groaned. And me and Hot Tub are literally in the row of seats behind them, giving it, well, yes, double fist bump.
Well, that was the same where I was.
No, that was a good moment.
But yeah, so, like it was my first time at it, so that was obviously unbelievable. But just to see how, and especially because I missed the podium so many times that year by being fourth by 1 point, etc., and to finally end on that note for me and as well for the F&H team, that was a good feeling, and also to see how much it meant to Sean, because without if you didn't know, he's had so many goes at it. Also had bad luck, like in Latvia with the chain and stuff, and behind the stage, I don't know. Can't remember. Was you behind the stage actually before we went on the podium?
Well, I wasn't up actually in the skybox, but yeah, I was behind. Because if you have to
it was like everyone was crying. It was just like it was a weird, but then it's kind of funny because you look at the podium and then like Belgium in second, it looks like they're at a funeral or something. I don't know. They're just on the podium like it's an everyday occurrence. And then you got Holland and us, and you just see how happy we are.
Well, you probably can't remember it. You need to. They're all still there on Dirt Hub's page and whatever. So if you go back through our Facebook, you can relive those moments. Yeah, I definitely caught up with you after the podium. I don't think you can probably remember it because you were just flying high.
No, I was probably already drunk on that one glass of champagne that we'd already had or something.
Was. I think there was a few
straight from the race.
I think there was a few expletives thrown in as well, but good. That's what we need. A bit more passion and stuff like that. Talking of which, now you've done your MX2 career. Happy with it? Regrets? Things you should have done differently? All that kind of stuff?
I don't have any regrets, that's for sure, because at that time, I felt like I did what was best, and I tried my hardest, and there is things I would change. Like if I look back and I think or maybe if I did this could have happened, or a bit more luck here, or if I didn't make that mistake. But I think that's with everything. And at that time I tried my hardest and did what I thought was best. So I don't look back and regret it. I had a lot of good moments in MX2, a lot of bad ones too, but don't you get that's in every sport. And just happy to end it how I did.
Yeah. I mean, you're a 6 footer. You're certainly not vertically challenged
6'1".
like I am. What are you?
6'1".
6'1". So you're quite big. So realistically, in the grand scheme of things, you're probably going to be more suited to a 450. Although obviously you haven't had a really good chance to hit the ground running. So you signed up for a new team. That and alone would have been different. Again, getting adjusted to that, and obviously in a different country. But you never really got a chance, I guess. With the way the world went into meltdown.
No, definitely. Like since I've been riding, I've always been like a really smooth rider up in high gears. So I've always thought the 450 is going to suit me better. But then I spent my last 3 years in MX2 trying to ride opposite to get the most out of a 250 to run at the front of a GP. So you need to be on the clutch. You need to get the most hang off the back and get literally every split second out of the 250 you can. So now the hardest part about changing onto a 450, what you don't realize is having to change that back, because you can't, if you ride a 450 like you ride a 250, it's going to end two ways. You're tired after one lap, or you have a massive crash.
Well, you did it more diplomatically. I was going to say you're blowing out your ass, or you're going to have a huge wreck.
Yeah, exactly. So, but sometimes people like you understand, but people who haven't rode before or just watch at the weekend and stuff, they don't really understand. Also, like on the MXGP, it doesn't give any justice to anything that goes on, like the track, or if you watch the footage from Latvia. If I watch the race back, I think looks flat, but it's completely the opposite. Sometimes I wish that the GP would have footage a bit like the AMA, where you can see a bit more. Like rather than being so far away, like the section at Latvia where guys are flipped off the back, that section before it's like scrub jump, double, single, tabletop into that thing. That whole section was just ruts of square edges, but you didn't see any of that on the video. It just looks like we're riding through it like it's flat. But yeah,
TV. Unfortunately, that's the difference in our sport. You've got to get those camera angles to see how brutal it is. TV flattens a lot of stuff out, and it just does, doesn't it? Like even watching the Motocross of Nations back, we were all there. That rain, it was so. Just walking around on the actually on the sand on the track was a mission, let alone riding it. So like, TV definitely does that.
Like what you said as well, making the adjustment. It's with everything that's gone on as well for me this year. It's hard sometimes in the races to not go back to riding like a 250 for some in some instances. Like in the first moto at the weekend, I did the same thing. I did a mega first 2 laps, rode how I should, went from like 7th to 3rd, and instead of just taking a breather, I made a mistake and went off the track, and then I just rode the bike like a 250 afterwards, arm pump, going too fast into the corner, setting it up, trying to get too much out the bike, making mistakes. And when you're so focused in the race, it's hard to, like in training, it's easy, but it's taking it from the training to the racing, which is the difficult part. But with more time, we'll get there.
For you, then? Is that, like I said, you really haven't, you're not on your own. Obviously, there's a load of people that have switched teams or switched bikes and everything this year. Obviously, because of coronavirus, we're not really got any momentum going. So it obviously that must have been frustrating. It's frustrating just the world in general at the minute. But have you felt that frustration of not being able to jump at it?
Yeah,
regardless of what team you're on, regardless of the team, we'll talk about that in a minute. But you haven't been able to get any proper races under your belt.
Yeah, it's been even more frustrating for me because of what's happened as well. Because I could have really used that lockdown to be really, really productive in trying to get better and testing and just training. Okay, we didn't have any races, but I missed so much riding in lockdown. Like I've almost done 3 off seasons again now. I did my first off season properly before coronavirus. Then we had a bit of coronavirus and I did a second one. And then I ended up switching teams and having loads more time off. So I had to do another off season. So I've basically done like 3 off seasons for 1 season. But like I'd get to think where I would be improving, and then then I'd have to have another 4 weeks off because I'm switching teams. But
which is frustrating, no doubt. So I know that it's been documented. We don't need to go into the finer details. Well, let's just have a brief recap on why obviously you couldn't gain momentum or it didn't work, and you felt that you had to come, for a better word, back to an environment better.
Yeah, sure.
In the UK, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the short version, I signed for the team, and I had a lot. It looked all really good. First few races, there was a few issues, and then obviously coronavirus come, and it is difficult for the teams. On a motocross team, there's a lot it's still difficult for now. But anyway, we disagreed with a few things, and ultimately, in the end, what's best for me was to leave the team. So I asked to leave, and I ended up leaving. So that was all very complicated. It took a lot of time, and actually a very frustrating time for me, if I'm honest. Probably one of the most difficult times in my career, and fortunately enough that I've picked up a good ride now with Hitachi, and I love the team there. It's a lot of people I've worked with in the past. Roger's a great guy. And BC's the team manager who was my mechanic at Factory Kawasaki. So
BC.
Yeah. We get on well, and
he's a good boy.
I'm sure he'll watch it. We get on well, and he knows already what I like, and so we've done what we can in the short space of time, and didn't even know. Well, I left with a bag, went to Belgium and started riding, and didn't know I was going to be in Latvia, and then ended up going to Latvia, and we ended up racing Latvia on the practice bike, but Well,
Yeah,
practice
like
slash
you say, you're making a
slash race bike. But yeah, we're just for us. It was more beneficial to race than to not race, because like the first round in Latvia, I was just so race rusty. I had from the first corner, I had arm pumps, so it was almost impossible to ride. Yeah.
I'll hand some of that over to you. There you go. There you go. We can't do the prop where you pick it up the other end, but
No,
yeah,
wrong way. Yeah, but anyway, that's all sorted now. I'm back to it, and yeah, I felt like I improved every weekend in Latvia. I'm improving every time that I ride, and yeah, I think I've shown that at the weekend as well in the qualifying and the practice before. I rode really well. Just need to sort my starts out, but again, I'm going to fly out to Holland and Belgium on Monday, and going to ride my proper race bike before Italy. So hopefully I can get some good starts in Italy, because that's critical in that class, and run a bit more towards the front.
Well, it's a work in progress. You've got to be made up, obviously, that you've ended up where you have, but not only that, just to get a ride full stop. Getting an MX1 ride is not an easy gig, obviously, because of the pyramid system, where that's the elite of the elite with MXGP, and rides are hard to get, particularly ones that obviously are good with good equipment, ones that pay and enable you to do the job properly. So you've got to be pleased with that. The way it just came about, was it already in motion? Obviously, you knew you was getting out of your contract, or trying to. So did the word just spread, or did you just start putting the feelers out?
No, one of the team sponsors and myself, we started speaking, and obviously I made sure I had somewhere to go before I got out my contract. But in all honesty, at that point, maybe even if I didn't have somewhere to go, it would have been still better for me to get out. And there's always somebody injured pretty much, so to take a fill-in ride would have been the second best option. So yeah, that's how it happened. I went and picked one of the bikes up, started riding that, doing as much riding as I could, and ended up in Latvia. So everything happened in such a short space of time. I still need to do a lot of testing, and I still haven't done many races on a 450. So just looking forward to keep improving, and once I sort the starts out, I know I can, with the speed I've got, I can run towards the front. So looking forward to that, and hopefully you can do that this weekend or next weekend.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. Before you're obviously doing well on a 250, you've always been that type of rider, as you said, like tall gears, trying to find smooth lines and whatever. It seems the 450 will definitely suit you. Having said that, like you said, the weekend you had a mixed bag going back to the Michelin MX Nationals. Great to see you there, by the way. Obviously, to see you back racing in the UK.
Yeah, it's been. I think it's been like since 2015 was the last time I did a MX Nationals or something, because 2016 I did GPs with Steve Turner and just did the British Championship. 17 I was with Factory Kawasaki, so just the World Championship, and then last 2 years have been in Holland. So
it's good to see you back.
But definitely good to be back, and be in that environment. It was quite fun actually, and I enjoyed it.
It was a listen. I know you're a GP rider, but I also know you're grounded. You got your feet on the ground. You're not going to sit here and think you're above all that. You went there, and it's
No, that's why we went there.
It's super tough. I mean,
if it was an easy race, then I almost wouldn't have gone.
Yeah,
but it's the fact that it is so stacked is why we went, because I need to get race practice. So the fact that there were so many good riders there is only good for British motocross, and it's a shame we can't have spectators, but still great to have it, and that's ultimately why I went there, because it was a good race, and again I feel like I learned from it.
I mean, that was tough going out there. It was
definitely, it was technical. Good practice, good training, some more races under my belt, and it was nice to be back. Good job for the MX Nationals as well for putting on races and events, because as we know, the other side don't seem like they want to put any races on. So I don't know what's happening there.
It is tough, as you say. They're out there doing it, but also with a with a lineup that is just racing from top to bottom.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like the British Championship now, because with the ACU not putting any races on, it makes it like that's almost the British Championship.
Here's one for you, and it's not to put you on the spot. I just genuinely want your opinion on this, because we've been talking about it. Like, just I say me and Callum and friends, and just me and Paul at Dirt Hub. All these just people I ask a lot of people this question now, or I have done over the last month. They got the fastest 40 going on. Obviously the British Championship previously has been broken to MX2 and MX1, but do you think now this looks to be the way it has to be done, because the depth of talent and people willing to race separate classes? The last 5 or 6 years, it seems to me, when you've separated the classes and you have them as MX1 or MX2, you get some great racing at the sharp end, but you get outside the sort of top 10 and it just sort of peters into a nothing sort of event. It's
good that you've asked me now that I ride a 450. If you asked me last year, I'd say no, definitely not. Definitely keep it MX2, MX1. Yeah. But I think from a perspective as having a stacked class, I think at the moment the way the British motocross is, I think it's probably the way forward.
Yeah.
As like if it was a bit more like it was back in the day where there was a lot more GP riders racing the British Championship, then I think it's more beneficial to have MX2 separate to MX1, because more races for people to watch. And it is a bit terrible if you're an MX2 rider and you've got to race the 450 guys. It's just, it's almost like you can't race your competition if there's 3 450s in between you and the other 250 guy.
Yeah,
it's so difficult to pass when you're on a 250 against.
Yeah, we saw that a little bit, didn't we? At the weekend, like there was a couple of riders, even MX2 riders. Once they cleared a couple of the MX1 riders in front of them, they got a run on to the next MX2 rider. We saw that a couple of times, but like you said, from a spectacle of all the best riders in one race. And I guess the flip side of that, MX1 or MX2, you're always having to work. There's so much depth in field. So like for you, like you said, doing GPs, if you get a bad start at the MX Nationals, you're gonna have to work for it regardless. Because
sure. Like if British motocross was back like it was when I was watching it as a kid, where there was a lot more GP riders, then.
Well, we all wish we could do that again. Obviously,
So until it gets back to that point, I think that the fastest 40 is quite a good way to do it.
It's going to be difficult to do that, because obviously back then you had to get on a grading list you had to be top 10 or 8 or whatever it was to even be eligible to go and do GPs. Of course, now that's all changed, so that affects the domestic scene a little bit.
But, also with
I was genuinely interested in getting your views on that. Sorry to throw that.
So many GP races now as well. Like it's just almost impossible to fit in. And there's always a scenario when you get injured a little bit or you tweak or something. And if you're a GP rider, the GPs is your main focus. So, I don't want to say you'd miss a British Championship, because of course to win a British Championship is very good as well.
Yeah.
So, but for example, normally I would never race an MX Nationals event normally.
No.
If it was a normal situation. So,
glad you did.
I don't know. Well, I'm glad I did, and like I said, it's a great event that they run, and I couldn't fault it at the weekend, considering the circumstances and stuff. So, I was happy to see that, and I think if they was allowed a lot of spectators, I'm sure quite a lot of people would turn up. So,
I think so. Yeah, hopefully they're going to try and get something in place, for at least the last round or whatever. Maybe even classes next weekend. We'll have to wait and see. But obviously they're the fact that they're running, so at least we are getting our fix of racing, and you guys are getting some ride time in at least. So that's cool. Let's talk about Landrake then, because obviously you came in, you obviously, like I said, you need ride time, set a good qualifying lap in tough conditions, but then an up and down weekend. Literally, I didn't see your second moto crash. I just saw the aftermath. So
my crash was all right. It was what happened afterwards.
What happened then? So did you crash first? And
I just crashed. So like coming down the hill, there's like 8 or 9 ruts just go into the inside rut. and obviously there's a fast outside rut, but you got to go on the inside of that right-hander. So I was taking the other inside rut and then going round the next corner around the outside. But there's like 9 ruts going to this one inside rut. And I must have took a different one than I took any other lap. And there was just a bit of a square edge going into the corner. And as I've hit the square edge, the rut went left and I was going straight still on the front wheel. So I've hit it and the ruts were baked solid by that time. So there was nothing I could do. I just tipped over right, like really small crash. But obviously Van Donning was coming around the outside to pass me flat out down the hill. And he just fully nailed me in the bike.
Yeah, I could see that.
So I was lying on the floor and there's bits of Husqvarna all over the place. He hit my head pretty good, but got some muscle shoulder damage, but nothing that'll hinder me. So we're all good.
Motocross, isn't it? Like that's the kind of thing where you're probably thinking, do you know what? I might have taken a whack, but I'm glad to be back riding, better than being sat at home and not doing anything.
Yeah, after that, to be honest, with how it could have gone, I'm quite happy that I did only get a scratch because the speed you come down there and how he hit me and actually what happened to his bike. I spoke to his team afterwards and he broke his subframe in 4 places. So I don't.
Now, obviously, the start of that moto. Have you been embroiled in this? What do we call it? What's the best thing to call it?
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm straight. I'm all up for it. I'm in the middle.
Right. So I haven't studied the video enough. So those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Stu Edmonds from the Apika Husqvarna team had an onboard camera, and coming down the first hill and into the first chicane, there's a little bit of banging and bumping, a little people. I'm trying to be diplomatic, going off track where maybe they shouldn't, etc., etc. Now I've got to say, the banter, I've loved it. You know, it's
same, Matt. It gave me a great. I actually didn't even watch Netflix that night. I was just refreshing that, waiting for a new comment to come up.
So Stu posted it on Instagram, and of course, it's all gone off, and riders getting involved in personal opinions. I haven't studied it enough to see. You were at the front, weren't you? You were quite up the front.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, you was way out of it.
A bit out of the picture.
Shame you went back on a 250 because you.
No, but I definitely didn't cut the track anyway. I was just. I was going on the proper track layout.
But it has been funny. I'm certainly going to be enjoying that as we go to the next round at Cusses on the commentary and reminding a few people who said what that was really good.
But I will say about that situation though.
Okay, I wasn't prompting you to really say anything, but if you
I will say like okay, the first turn gets graded, but then to like where the track goes right left, that bit didn't get graded. So like if you're in the mid pack, you can't see what's in front of you. Yeah. So there was quite a few people that I can imagine they cross-rutted, and then there is no other option than to go on the grass.
Yeah.
But okay, wheeling onto the grass and going around people on purpose is different, but
it's another precarious one, isn't it? Again, the sport's evolved a bit. So without getting the old like back in my day, which I seem to do endlessly on these kind of videos or whatever. But you know, we had tracks marked with rope, so you just hit the rope and that was it. You race over and whatever. If you had to make a straight choice of going back to that or having a bit more freedom of movement, you'd stick with where we're at now, right?
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't.
Safer, innit?
I think ropes on the track's completely dangerous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess Landrake's maybe just a bit of a funny one for it because it's got a few of them chicanes. Like if that just went straight down to the right hander, no one would be cutting the track anywhere. It's just because I think it just goes right and it's like slightly right, slightly left, that it gives people the opportunity just to easily go on the grass. I was like, because in GPs and stuff, you don't see people cutting the track.
No.
I know that's monitored more, but I think Landrake was just a bit more of a special one because of that scenario.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I see. That's it.
Because it doesn't like at Hawkstone, you don't see people cutting the track because
no. And there's a few places there again where you could shave a few inches, like a few feet.
Yeah, it's like it wasn't like people were coming every lap as well and just going down the grass. Like on the start, okay, but like if you're on lap 6 and you just go flat out across that grass, then it's a bit different, isn't it? But
yeah, granted, I'd agree with that. So that's cleared that up. But I'm looking forward to that carrying on. Anyway, if you race another one, like you said, you've got to nail your starts. You'll be out of all that trouble on the big 450.
Yeah, like this week, I'm going to do loads of starts, and like I said, with the full.
What next for you, Adam? What have you got coming up next? You got the GPs up next, I suppose.
Yeah, we got the 3 rounds in Italy. Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. I haven't looked past that. Yeah, I know we got 9 races in Italy in total.
Yeah.
We got 3 races in Faenza and another action-packed week. So, like I said, I'm gonna ride on. I'm gonna fly Monday. I'm gonna ride Tuesday, and probably gonna spend one day that week before I fly to Italy just doing starts. So, on the full race bike, hopefully I can get out front, and because in that MXGP class, you watch, it is like the war zone. You cannot. That first lap is something else, and the MXGP class as well, like it's all big, strong. Like in the MX2 class, you have some young people where if you hit them, it's not really as like when you got Van Hoorbeek and like Bobryshev and Tanner Leok and people in the MXGP class, that it's just they're smart as well. Like if you're faster than them, they just know where to block you, and you don't in the MX2 class you don't kind of have that. You have people making mistakes more, rookies, and in MXGP class, if you start 20th, it's you're battling with ex-podium World Championship riders to try and move forward, and there's more podium riders in front of that, and then there's world champions in front of that, and just to try and make any progress without getting a start is just. I think realistically, there's only a couple, 3, potentially 4 riders who, if they get a bad start, can actually go forward, and that reflects in the results as well. Like from another media company, we won't.
But that's
for your sake.
Mate, dude, you can mention who you want.
There was only 2 people out of the whole of Latvia who finished in the top 10 in every moto. So that goes to show how inconsistent it is if you don't get a start, or how easy it is to make a mistake. So it's good though. I actually think and it's like you said, it's an achievement to get a ride at the moment in MXGP, and it's kind of like Formula One. If you get a ride there, you're already.
Listen, you just sold it, man.
Yeah,
like
you've already got an achievement, so
you've just sold it. It is the absolute pinnacle. It's transpired exactly how Luongo wanted to do it. Some people are dead against it, but either way, you have got that pyramid thing. You can argue about how you get there and the money it costs to get there and all these things. Ultimately, you are left with all the best riders in that premier class, and it's tough.
Yeah.
An AMA National has more riders on the line, but again, you can go there and qualify, and it's kind of like what we was talking about, the state of British motocross or whatever, where it might not quite have the depth and fit in field. Every rider virtually in that MXGP class is like a top rider.
Yeah, sure.
So you got to work at it. So yeah, you're in at the deep end, but that's where you want to be. You've earned the right.
And it's only going to get even more stronger next year as well.
Yeah.
So
so is there any talk of not this stage? Just want to cement yourself, do the best you can with Hitachi, Milwaukee, and then hopefully come to an agreement with those guys. They'll be happy for you to stay. You'll be happy to stay, and then you can have a proper stab at it in 2021.
Yeah, hopefully that's the plan. Yeah. So yeah, need to work hard and keep improving, get some results, and hopefully we can sort something like that out.
Sure, you will. Then, of course,
hopefully
you can scrap to get a place on the nations team for 2021 as well. Get back.
Yeah, because that isn't happening anymore. So
no, there you go. Go back.
Where is the next nations? Do we know?
No, I haven't been keeping up with that since they basically said they're going to bin it.
I don't know where it is.
Comment it might be going back to France again. Does it just push back a year? I really can't remember. Too much goes through my head since then to know.
Well, actually, I'm quite interested. What's your opinion on the GPs at the moment? I'm interested on what you think of it.
They're getting it done, and they got to do what I'd rather see it go in an ideal world. It would go to obviously more venues, but
because when you race it all the time, you don't really see, from like a person watching its perspective, what they can do better or.
I just, I think they're doing what they have to do to put a series out there. Obviously, like I don't think they can make too many drastic changes this year because of
maybe not about the series now, but just as if it was normal, like in general.
Oh,
you think the tracks need to be different, or
that would be my one thing. But then I'm a bit more old school. I think we've gone a bit too much manicured and manufactured tracks. If we could get some venues, not all of them, a mix. Obviously, there's modern venues where you got to have the infrastructure. I get all that. I got no issues with that.
Yeah, I understand. I understand as well why they go there because.
But if there was a handful out of the 20 GPs, if there was 6 GPs or something that was more at traditional venues with more natural, not manicured, not like now there seems to be rollers in every circuit. There's a bit more of a mix and variety on the circuits. Other than that, it is what it is. You can bang on all you want about how good it was in the 80s and 90s, but we're in a very different world now.
Yeah, it's a different sport now.
The bikes have evolved.
Completely different.
What you can do on the bikes, as in the technology and everything. But I would like to see a bit more variation with circuits. That would be cool.
Yeah, no, I agree because I think no matter where you go, the track's a little bit similar. Like you said, there's rollers almost every track.
Yeah, and if they roll out an old style GP, I might try and save up my piggy bank and go and enter one. Do a wild card in Indonesia or something.
Do a random vets race.
See if I can still cut it for. You got to have.
Don't pick Indonesia. You can't pick there.
You got to have a percentage of speed, haven't you, to be classed as a finisher? So I probably wouldn't.
Do you still need? Is that still a rule? I don't think that's still a rule, is it?
No. Well, maybe
I think they had to take it out when Jeffrey was on MX2.
Well, maybe I should shoot for that. Maybe I should do some kind of feature that I'll go and try and race a GP.
I would love a GP to happen at Hawkstone.
Yeah, well, that would be cool.
Or Desert Martin again.
Right. Well, you know the answer to that. We need to set something up. So let's start a page or something.
I did hear a few years ago, or a couple of years ago, they did look at Hawkstone for a Grand Prix, but I don't think the infrastructure at Hawkstone's can handle the GP now.
The road in, I think,
like the road, and they need to build the skybox and the restaurant and the paddock. And
well, as long as we get a British GP at some point again next year, which hopefully we will. I'm just keeping an eye on my battery here. Because obviously I'm in a van doing this on a computer. Normally, if we didn't have COVID, you'd be sat here at an event and I would have sat you in the van here at the weekend. But I've got to make sure I don't run out of battery before we finish this. So,
what percentage are we on?
I'm getting down. I'm on to 10.
Oh, loads. Are you on a MacBook?
Yeah, but I got no means of plugging in.
It lasts a while on 10%.
All right, okay. I'll take your word for it.
I don't know about on this app,
yeah,
but
well, there you
normally
go.
it lasts.
Modern technology. We've been chatting for 38 minutes, and that's cool. So you're getting geared up for next year. Basically, you obviously want to finish strong, which is great. And so, what is to sign off with? What is your realistic expectations for the remaining GPs? Have you set a target? You're not doing that.
That's like a common question you always get asked. Like, what's your goals or expectations? But I never really set any goals or expectations. Like in my head, I kind of know what I want to do, but I feel like if I say like I want to get a podium, for example, and I don't achieve it, then I feel it can be a negative. So I just like to try my hardest, turn up at the weekend and give it my all, and wherever I end up, and then try and improve on it.
I'm gonna put the answer in your mouth for you. You might not disagree, you might not agree, but I would have thought that the obvious goal is to just see progression for the rest of the year.
If I improve every weekend like I've done so far, then I'll be happy. And but I don't. That's not saying that I don't put all this effort and hard work and everything in to just get a few points. I just don't like saying I want to do this, and if I don't achieve it, then it's a negative. So I just like to turn up, try my hardest, prepare as hard as I can, and hopefully get good results.
That sounds good to me, mate. Listen, I'm not going to risk it because I've got to download this after I do it as well. So we can we can do this again. We can add on to this. We can do another one next year or when the season's finished. Right. What we're going to do though is we're going to give some of this away. Relaxtorace arm pump, right, to certain people who are going to watch this. So I reckon we should set a question that they need to answer below, and then we'll pick a winner out of that. So I don't think you've mentioned it in this interview. So let's go with this as the question. Adam Sterry, what year did you win the British? Don't give me the answer, mind.
No, I know they need to answer.
This is the question. This is the question to win some of this. Okay, we're going to pick random winners. We're not going to say how many, so we might give away 10 bottles. I don't know. But the question is, what year did Adam Sterry win the British MX2 title? So answer below when you watch this on Facebook or wherever you do. And then we'll pick X number of winners that get the question right. And then you'll have no excuse not to hang on to when you go practicing or training.
Yeah, I'll be on here making some fake accounts now, spamming you with the right answer. To get some
I know you will.
I've had it that many times this year already. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, I know you're not joking. Look, if you want some that much, well, I'll just send you up some. I'll even put it in the post for you. All right. Adam, as always, it's been a pleasure. We look forward to seeing how you get on for the rest of the year, no doubt. Just keep obviously chipping away. It's great to see you back in the UK. Hopefully, you might get to do. I can't remember the dates, class. You probably won't get to do any more MX.
I don't think there's a chance to do another one, but hopefully there is. Hopefully something comes up. The amount of times it's changed already, it's possible again. So hopefully there's a chance to race again in the UK, and because I enjoy racing here, so it'd be good to see you there again.
Yeah. So just before we sign off, you're based in the UK at the minute and keep bombing back and forth to Belgium, do you?
Yeah, so they're based in Belgium, so I base there and here, so just at the moment it's a bit difficult at the moment it's a bit difficult with bikes and stuff because everything's taking time. When you order stuff, everything takes time with COVID, and so we're on with that, but based in both places. I think that's the best of both hard pack and sand, so
and like we're good with that. Keep chipping away, and then obviously hopefully we'll be going into 2021 with everybody set. You know, COVID may still be around, but hopefully there'll be more of a structure and everybody will have a proper off season and etc and ready to go, and we might be able to get fans in by then and all that kind of stuff, so that would be cool.
Yeah, hopefully.
But I've just had the thing come up saying low battery,
5%. You're right.
Well, that's the trouble. See, you're a racer, you'll push it right to the end, which is fine, but obviously I don't want to get 43 minutes into an interview and it just goes and stops.
Yeah, that wouldn't be ideal.
No, so we'll end it there. We'll be watching you, obviously doing your GP stuff. Good luck with it, mate. Stay safe, and like I said, hopefully we'll see you at some race in the UK before the year's out. If not, go and smash it in that MXGP class.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on, and thanks to everyone listening.
No worries. Pleasure to have you on. And remember, give BC as much grief as you can. He loves it.
He's a bit more serious now, actually. Yeah.
All right. Well, now he's a manager.
Yeah, that's the problem. He's the big boss now, isn't he?
Has it gone to his head a bit?
Yeah, he's just a bit more. He's a bit more bossy, isn't he? So.
Yeah, love that. Right, mate. You go enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to download this and we'll get it out for tomorrow. This was recorded on a Thursday, like Graham Norton, only much not as entertaining or quite as mainstream. But anyway, we're doing our thing. Right, mate.
Right, cheers, Jeff.
Good luck in Italy.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, mate. Thanks.
All right, mate. So there you go. That's Adam. He's out of it. Right. I'll finish this off. As I've said, this has been brought to you by Relaxtorace. We are going to be giving some of these away, and obviously by FXR. who are bringing out all their 2021 line. Go and check them out on, let's get this up here quick. Banners. Let's bring the banner up. I can't find it. I'm in a panic. Oh, there we go. There you go. So go on and check these two brands out. Where are we? There. And go and check out the 2021 FXR kit. Awesome stuff. Right. I'm signing off. That was episode 11, series 2. I'll be back with another guest as soon as I can. Till then, everybody stay safe. I'm going to finish it like this. I'm going to get all technical. Just because I can. I shouldn't be doing this because the battery's going to go. There we go. I'm out of here.